Hi, Bill here with 30 Minute Woodshop. Thanks for joining. Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to rescue a plane. All right. Now, I was out at went to the Midland Antique Fair up in Midland, Michigan, and came across this small. It's actually a 60 and a half Stanley. All right. Mostly has surface rust, so it should be fairly easy. But the bottom might have some pitting in it. I don't know. We'll have to see what that and see what it takes to get this thing apart. But here's the easy thing. Because this is primarily surface rust, it's primarily just going to be nothing more than using some sandpaper, running through the grits, trying to get rid of that. The bottom, same thing. I'm going to start with a rough sandpaper and same kind of thing. So I'm going to show you those steps, but I will say this is not a 30-minute project. Okay, this is going to take some time and effort, mostly elbow grease, in getting this thing all squared away. So now, 30minutewoodshop.com. Go down here if you want to check on some of the things that I use, the planes that I have, or the tools and things I use. You might find some good stuff there. Also, you can find a link to my blog. I'll kind of walk you through some of this, some more pictures. And so let's get started. So like I said, $4, I couldn't pass it up, even if it turns out to be a really horrible, well, that's not good. I didn't loosen that up and it fell out, so we may have more problems than I thought. Anyway, $4, I couldn't really pass it up. We'll see if we can salvage this thing. Let's make sure this actually does fit in there. Well, let's see if we can get this thing out. Well, let's start taking it apart. Ooh, that baby's bad. But still, it's surface rust. We can get rid of most of that pretty easily. Should be easy enough to do. Now the hard part is getting this movable shoe off without too much damage. Let's see if this will come off pretty easy. So I'm going to have to get some penetrating oil and get this on something, so I'll be back in a minute. So I have some liquid wrench here. I'm going to use that and see how much that'll loosen this up. But I'm going to have to let it sit for a little bit. We'll give it 10 or 15 minutes and see how that works out. Okay, we've got the foot apart. It's looking kind of rough in there, but I think this is going to work out. I have run these screws all the way in with some penetrating oil just to clean the threads up a little bit, and everything's running pretty well. So that's actually a really good sign. The fact I can get all these threads in, they run really smooth. So without doing a whole lot of stuff, it looks like this is pretty good. And you can see that it works out pretty well. Yep, threads are all running free, so that's good. All right, now, first thing I really need to do here is I need to work on the bottom to see how bad this really is, because this is the only spot. Everything else is surface rust, and I can take it off just with some light sandpaper and leave it looking dark and gritty. But this bottom needs some work. So I'm going to grab some sandpaper, and I'm going to start doing a little bit of sanding on this thing. So all I've got here is some 100 grit sandpaper. I'm just throwing some penetrating oil on here. And we'll start on this. Now this is going to take a while for me to get this actually so I can see things. So I'll be back in a couple minutes. All right, longer than a couple minutes. So that's looking really, really good. All right, that's only a few strokes, but there's no pitting here, which is really good. So let me keep working on this and get it down a little bit more, and then we should be ready to actually start doing something with this. Now we're at the point where I got to take this blade, and same thing with the blade. It's just surface rust, pretty bad surface rust. But we're going to take this blade and we're going to do the same kind of thing. Sand off most of the big surface rust with this 100 grit sandpaper, and then we're going to start working through the grits. Okay, it's looking pretty good. And it does say Stanley right there. So we'll keep working on this and kind of brighten it up a little bit and get it squared away. Okay, this is looking really good. There's still a lot more work to do, but you can read the 60 and a half on it. We've got the blade, other than some staining, pretty good shape. And actually this blade is actually sharp. So when it got put away, sadly into a wet spot, somebody had been using it and we're taking good care of it. So now we've got most of the rust off of the outside edges. We got to start on the inside here. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take a brass brush and I'm going to start cleaning all that up. Clean up the knurling here. And then I'm going to have, now I've been using this piece of wood as a flat. But what I need to do here is I need to swap over to my granite plate so I can get this bottom flat, and then get the shoe flat too. But like I said, it's all turning out pretty good so far. These are looking good. Let's keep working. So I have a little work to do down here in the mouth. That's going to take some hand sanding, but we'll get to that. Everything else is going pretty well. So I'll be back in a minute. So this still has a lot of paint on it, actually, come to looking at. There's some rust right up here, but all the rest of this still has the original paint. Little rust up here, little rust in the corners. But overall, this is looking pretty good. I'm going to have to get the penetrating oil rinsed off, but I think we got something here that's going to be pretty good and pretty easy to use. So I'm going to keep working on this, and let's see what happens. All right, what I used yesterday was this 100 grit drywall sandpaper with some liquid wrench penetrating oil on it. That worked out really well for what I was doing because it's got this pretty well cleaned up, as you can see, and I'm pretty happy with how that worked out. So what I set up here, though, I'm taking my next step. This is 220 grit wet dry sandpaper, and this is sitting on a 1x1, 12 by 12 inch granite plate. Now this isn't a granite plate as you normally think of it for a measurement system. So what it really is, it's just a 12 by 12 inch piece of granite you get from Home Depot or whatever the big box stores are, and it's all it is for flooring and tiling. All right, but it's granite, and because it is, they've cut it out and it's very flat, definitely flat. So you don't have to worry about it. What I'm going to do is I'm taking this 220. I got some water on here. I put a couple towels down, just going to get kind of messy. But all I want to do is get rid of some of the scratches that are on here and get it down a little bit further. I'm not trying to get this thing super flat like some guys will tell you. Oh my God, it's got to be like totally flat. All the stuff that's been built over the years, they never had super flat planes. Matter of fact, they started with wood planes. Lots of stuff built with a wood plane that is not flat. So anyway, I'm going to clean this up a little bit more. And you can see how easy that works here. The water holds it down to the granite really well. And the fact these are, we'll just keep doing this for a little while and get all these parts squared away. All right, next we're going to move on to the blade. Doing the exact same thing. I've got all the parts here, the body and the foot, all squared away. Now what I want to do is get the same thing with the blade and make sure there aren't any real pits in it. So we'll be doing the same kind of thing back here, getting rid of a lot of that. Again, this is going to be nothing but nug work. A little bit of water and a lot of elbow grease. All right, pretty well done with this 220. Now what I've done here is I've laid down 1,000 grit. Yeah, it's a big jump in grit, but I'm not going to worry too much about it because I have to start doing some edge work. And as you can see, it's turned out fairly well. I don't want to put any more time into it to get all the rest of the staining out, but I think it's done pretty darn well. And it's going to serve me perfectly. Now the edge needs work. So I'm going to start out here with using this stone to get most of the crud off it and get it shaped. Then I'm going to come back and use these. Actually, I think I'm going to start here. On the back. Give this a little bit of a polish in the back before I start on the edge, but not bad. It doesn't take a lot once you get this thing down. You can't see it, but I got a pretty good mirror here. I'm not looking for 100% like a lot of guys, super mirror finish, but I want something on there. So all I'm going to do here is start cleaning the edge up. All right, so this actually is hollow ground. And I'm getting this edge and I'm getting the back edge, the front edge and the back edge are nice and clean. There's still some spots here in the hollow area. I'm going to keep doing this and leave the hollow. Eventually I'll take it back on the Tormek and I'll reshape that, but for now it's going to be perfect. I'm done there. Let's move on to the grits. Okay, closed in on the project. Now what I want to do is I want to wash all the oil off of it. And I'm almost out of Dawn liquid cleaner, but we'll figure it out. I'm going to scrub all these parts down, get all the gunk, rest of the gunk off them, any left over, clean them up a little bit. And then we'll actually apply some additional oil. And what that'll do is that'll help protect everything. And I also want to see if I'm going to throw any paint on this because I can't quite tell yet. There's still a lot of dark stuff on the body. See how bad this really is. But it's looking actually pretty good. I think we're about 90% of, just using a toothbrush to scrub things down. One thing you have to do for sure is whenever you get this thing done is make sure that you dry everything, especially in the screw holes. Okay, we're ready to start doing some assembly work here. Everything's cleaned off. We got quite a few things. The paint, not bad at all. You can see we managed to get everything cleaned up pretty well. Again, mostly surface rust, some very small pitting here and there. That's a little chip. Blade turned out okay. No pitting in the blade. And I got it pretty sharp. It still needs more work. There's some rust on the knurling here, the knobs, but I'm going to leave that. It is what it is. This is a worker, not a showcase plane. I've scrubbed everything down. Now here's one last thing. Make sure that you clean out all these holes, that you get all the water out of them, because one thing you don't want to do is leave water in there. The thing isn't dry, and then what happens is you go ahead and reassemble it and everything gets frozen in place. So I'm going to use some 3-in-1 oil just to get everything put back together and lubed up. By the way, I did have to do a little more work down here in the mouth area. It was still kind of rusty, so I got that cleaned up. But all we're going to do here, a little drop of oil. So let me oil this up and I'll be right back. All right, everything's got a thin coat of oil on it. Let's do some initial assembly. Wow, there we go. Perfect. Not bad at all. I love it when a plan comes together. For $4 and some elbow grease, I got a really nice Stanley number 60 and a half. Easy to do. I say this, folks, this was a fun little project. It turned out way better than I actually anticipated. I was kind of afraid I would get this and there'd be a lot of rust that I hadn't anticipated, like pits and things, because it would look pretty bad down here in the bottom. So I'm really happy with this little recovery and getting this back into service. All right. I'll say this, folks, if you're at a flea market, you see something that's looking pretty good and it's pretty cheap, look at it real close. All right. See what you think you can do. If it's surface rust, absolutely pick it up. You can get rid of surface rust. You may not, like the plane blade, you may not be able to get rid of all the stains or even want to. You can, but you may not want to. It's really not worth the effort, probably. Like I said, this is not a hanger queen. I'm not putting it out there on display. This is one that I'm using personally. I'm going to put it in my cabinet here. It's going to be one of my go-to planes. I can already tell that because of the size. It's easy to use. All right. Easy to adjust. I'll be using this fairly frequently. So, matter of fact, let me pull these other ones out. Here's my two other block planes, so you can kind of see the relative size between all three of these here. This is a record. This is a made in USA. This is probably a Stanley too, my guess. Yep, this is a Stanley. This is Stanley number 9. They're actually record number 9. I think this says, oh, this is actually a record 60 and a half. Well, what do you know? It actually says Marples on it. So it's been around for a while. Record Marples. But you can see the difference in those two. This is a 60 and a half record Marples, and this is a 60 and a half Stanley. And quite a difference in the width. Now, this is actually so far my go-to plane. I use this a lot, simply because it's super easy to use, super quick. But I can already see this thing might end up being a lot more handy. So we'll see. Like I said, if you're at these fairs and whatnot, take a look. If you find tools that are kind of rusty and ragged out, give them a shot if they're cheap enough. You know, this cost me $4. Actually, I think this one cost me $4. This one cost me like $6, and I had to do the exact same work on this that I did here, but it wasn't as bad a shape when I got it. It was just surface rust on the exposed metal parts. So, and this one I bought new. Go out, check these things out, man. Give it a shot. Recovering old tools is actually, it's really a lot of fun. You know, reduce, reuse, recycle. Pull these things out from somebody's, waste bin, someplace where no one's going to use them, and give it a shot. You'll end up with a really good tool for a really good price. Like I said, I saw these for sale at the same thing that were effectively not even as good a shape as this is right now, and they were asking $45, $50, $55 for them. So give it a crack. Give it a shot, man. It's a crapshoot, but what the heck. Now, like I said, as always, go down here at 30minutewoodshop.com. Check out my blog. Check out the tools. Get more. You can find tools and things that I use. Matter of fact, I'll see if I can put some links in there for some of the sandpaper and stuff that I use for this, if you're interested. And you might get something out of that. So check those out. And hey, folks, until next time, do me a favor, hit like and subscribe, and good making.